Good afternoon, and welcome to the latest edition of Shooting Straight with me, Voice of the Forge, from Forgotten Forge Games. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. There isn't one overarching story which has entered the news. There's been several smaller events. Now, one of the ones which I'm going to talk about is the Beamdog fiasco with Baldur's Gate. And we're going to start there purely because it is the most recent travesty to behold in terms of tokenism and the fact that diversity of thought is the one true diversity which is denied the gaming community by these people in positions of power. Now, by changing characters that are much loved in games such as Baldur's Gate, these are games which are classics, and they're classics for a reason. The reason being that the writing and the balance of these games has been such that people loved them. When you revisit this sort of IP and you mess around with it, then you are playing with fire. You only have to look at the revilement that George Lucas got when he messed around with his own creation in Star Wars to see that this isn't a phenomenon that is purely about games. This is something about a fandom, and people have universes, worlds, which have been created and have been set in a way which the fans adore. And to change that, to mess around with it, is to destroy that kind of love for a brand, for a game, for a film, for a story, and for characters within that story. And this is something that Beamdog don't seem to have understood, and they look at it purely as being a backlash against what the changes are, rather than the fact that you actually have the changes full stop. Now, alongside this, we also have the issue of Airplay 2, which looks like it's being cancelled. Now, Airplay 1 was disrupted by bomb threats. Airplay 2 looks like it's been disrupted by bad management and poor planning. The details are thin on the ground, other than the fact that we have things that have been bought for a particular reason which now can't be used for that reason through crowdfunding. We have tickets that are non-refundable, and we have a venue which has been cancelled for some nebulous reason which hasn't been specified. Now, other workarounds have been suggested, such as venues such as Google Hangout and things like that, but we don't know quite what's going to happen on the 17th of April, purely because this is so up in the air. It is interesting to note that this has happened, and it will be interesting to see how this manages to play out in the long term. One can hope that it happens and that it won't be as bad as DashCon, but we may just see that it fails to materialise in any way, shape or form. In other news, we have finally started doing some of the video recordings that we said we would as part of the Forgotten Forge Games series. We're starting with Stardew Valley, purely because of the low system requirements and the fact that it is a great game. We have had issues with donated equipment that hasn't been working, and our budget is zero, so we are currently saving up to buy ourselves some new equipment so that we can actually record off consoles. We have a number of ideas for that, but at the moment we're just waiting for your patience. What else has been happening? Let's see. We've had Beamdog, we've had Airplay 2, and there have been all kinds of other uh, controversies relating to the American presidential nomination. However, I don't really want to get into a lot of the politics of that because I am from the UK and I don't understand a huge amount of the politics behind it. All I know is that we have a lot of misinformation on both sides flying around, and people accusing each other of things, and then revelations being made which really aren't revelations because they turn out to be false, which then turn out to be a whole mess of things. And again, it's just one of those things where I just don't know enough to be able to comment within a reasonable amount of knowledge. Now, Nintendo of America have fired Alison Rapp. And again, this has been another narrative which has been pushed, saying that it's gamergaters and people who hate women, when in fact she was not only using her Nintendo of America account to say some quite disturbing things about the relaxation of child sex laws, but she was also using it to camgirl, which isn't the best move for a family-friendly company. Now, one of the things that I did see, I believe, was a Sega April Fool's joke, which was quite funny about how it about them taking on the Nintendo of America firing, and then having her translate the Atlas games, which I really hope was an April Fool's joke because I happen to love Atlas and a lot of the games they've done so far. And yeah, a whole lot of brigading, a whole lot of issues with regard to her firing, really, really taking up an awful lot of time and effort on a lot of people. Now, that being said, this is one of those weeks where there's an awful lot that has been going on, but they've all been smaller events in a lot of ways. They're not the huge news stories that we've had. Now, whilst I have had a few videos which have had quite bombastic language, shall we say, there was a video that I did previously called Speech Isn't Free. Speech has consequences, and we can see this on my Twitter feed, where I've posted a few things about the Belgian attack and other bits and pieces in solidarity of the victims, and about some of the truths contained within certain texts. And as a result, I lost quite a few followers on Twitter. At the end of the day, this isn't a popularity contest for me. I'm doing these things because I want to, and I'm grateful for those who follow me on Twitter, and I'm grateful for those who follow me on YouTube. I hope that people find something that they can take away from the video, that they can either enjoy listening to or find informative. When the gameplay videos are up, I hope that people can enjoy them for what they are, gameplay videos. But at the end of the day, I'd be doing this if I've got 2 followers on Twitter and 2 followers on YouTube. I just want people to join in if they want to. I want people to feel that if they've got a comment to make, they're more than welcome to. If they've got questions to ask, they're more than welcome to. And if they have any ideas for things that could be done to improve the quality of these shows, then I will listen. Now, obviously, some of the most obvious improvements in quality involve money, and these will happen over a period of time. It's just zero budget. So we are doing the best we can with what we've got. And with that, I will sign off, and thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you have a good day and speak to you soon.